Hold on, she's in the room. Oh, there we go. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm
Good.
good.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming on. I'll be honest, I am surprised to see you.
Right? I know. I was like, you know what? If you gotta be able to take a joke with a grain of salt, right?
100%, 100%. But yeah, how have you been like since the reunion and stuff?
Actually, I've been really good. I think a lot of things that kind of just don't get understood is it's like we filmed for 8 weeks. And so you guys get to try to get to know me in 45 minutes. So
Right.
it's just a very like little snippet of it, and a lot of it is we're exhausted and we're tired and I was engaged to a stranger, so living with a stranger. But
So
yeah.
did you apply for the show or did they approach you?
So they approached me actually knowing that we were in Denver. And I had been asked to do like other shows before too, and they just felt very fake or kind of pushing you to do something that you didn't want to do. And I was like, oh, Love is Blind. That seems a little more real or realistic, and um, still kind of not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. What they do is they look for people in a certain age demographic and an age range living in a specific area. If you're an entrepreneur, that's great. They actually do full background checks. They check your
Really?
income. I don't know if they do a credit check, but they want to know like how much you're making per year, what your dating history looks like, and yeah, like they run a full entire background check on you. So
I mean, but like, how extensive is the background check given that Mike was on the show and he was like scamming all of those women with his Airbnb business?
it's honestly they're very thorough, and I think those are things. And the thing with Mike too is I actually really like Mike, and I think that unfortunately, anytime someone like us comes out, there's always going to be somebody who wants their 15 seconds of fame as well, and so they're happy to say what they can to get in on that too. Like my ex-boyfriend came out of the woodwork and was saying all kinds of terrible things about me, so it's just kind of how people are.
Right. So do you feel like those women that came forward that they were not being truthful?
I'm not totally sure. It's something I'm more than happy to ask Mike about too. He's, like I said, he's a great dude. He's really nice, super fun, super successful. Yeah.
So I have to ask, what was happening with the bundles on your head?
Oh my God. So like 2 years ago, right? Long curls and waves were great, right? And
They
I
were
have
like
already
stacked up.
I know, I already have super thick hair. And so it was somebody, and it's probably my mistake. Somebody told me, "Oh girl, your hair looks great when you have more volume in there. You should put those clips in." And of course, it's like, you're looking at yourself one way and then seeing it another with, on camera. I was like, "Oh, I don't look at myself from that angle."
Right, like you just generally, and I get this, like you stand in front of the mirror and you just see one sort of image and then you see yourself from a different angle and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa.
exactly.
I did want
Uh,
to talk about the LGBT conversation.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I know you spoke about this already on the Viall Files,
Of course.
and I do have like a little transcript of the conversation just for like context for people
Yeah,
that
of
didn't
course.
watch the Viall Files interview. And what you had said was when Nick asked what I would do if my child came out to me as LGBTQ, I paused because I have a lot of people in my family. I have a lot of friends that are also in the queer community. And I think for me, my answer is it was that pause that people are really upset about. So for you, just so that you have more clarity on the situation, nobody was really upset about the pause, I don't think. I think people were more upset that you kind of implied that you would maybe be disappointed. And what you had
No,
said
I
was,
want to be so clear that I would never be disappointed, especially my children. Like, I want them to be happy. And those are my kids. Of course I'm gonna love them, for my children. They're great. And
but you,
anyway.
you said, I can't tell you that I would be the first person to be like, yay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean then? Is that not disappointment, would you say? Or
No, it's not disappointment at all. It's just I think that some people get the world is so cruel. They are
Mm,
so mean. And anyone who's not like they are, or, so someone who is in the queer community, I would never want my child to experience any of this adversity or that cruelty that the world can offer to them. And I think that's why I wouldn't necessarily jump out to say, yay, I, I feel their struggle. I can see them, facing some adversity. And I would want my child to have the easiest, most simple life. And I'm not sure that that's always the case for anyone, frankly.
So what were like with your queer family and friends and things like that? What were kind of the conversations that took place with them after the show?
Well, luckily they're my family and my friends, and so they do know me. And they know that I in no way meant any ill will or any harm to anyone in the queer community at all. It's nothing but love, to be honest.
So they were just they didn't see any sort of like anything
They
controversial
definitely
about
asked me the clip that we addressed in the Viall Files as well, where they asked me, do you think that being gay or being LGBTQ is a fad? And to be so clear, I do not think that's a fad at all. Unfortunately, that was clipped from a previous conversation and put directly after that comment, because you can hear Nick ask, do you think it's a fad? Not being clear of what fad we're speaking to.
So on that point, you had said in the Viall Files that conversation where he asked, do you think it's a fad, that was about the over-sexualization in like kids' TV shows.
Yeah.
Then when Nick did his follow-up on Instagram, what he said was over-introducing sexual content material to kids shows at a young age, or the idea of gay identity. Do you think children should be allowed to watch TV shows if there's a gay couple?
Absolutely. That's no problem. Yeah. It's honestly, as long as they're being kind, I think what happens in some of these kids shows, it's just overly sexualized, and these kids they're having to go either ask their mom, or they're not confident enough to maybe go ask their parents, so they're going to ask their friends or their family, and they might get the wrong impression of something that's being over sexualized to them that they might not quite understand. So,
but do you mean like the gay people in the TV show have been over sexualized, or just over sexualization in general?
Just in general.
So what did he mean when he said that the conversation was about introducing kids to gay identity?
To be honest, that's not really the conversation we were having. To be very transparent, Nick and I are both, we were both raised very religiously. And so we kind of were bonding over not being allowed to watch like SpongeBob or specific, like there was like very specific cartoons. I remember watching on Cartoon Network and my mom being like, no, you're not allowed to watch that. You're too young. Those jokes are going to be lost on you. And I was like, okay, thanks. And that was the conversation Nick and I were actually having. So I think he kind of is addressing something maybe a little bit different. To be honest with you, I wish we had access to that footage too.
So if you, obviously you said you guys bonded like over your religious upbringings and stuff. Would you say your upbringing was more conservative then, because they were like quite religious?
Yeah, of course. And to be honest with you, I grew up in a very small town. There's lots of cows, horses. We're country. We're very country people. Those tend to be more conservative. Luckily, I have been able to go experience other things. I've worked at New York Fashion Week. I've worked at LA Fashion Week. I've, been much more open to other parts of the world and, different experiences and new people and new, really great experiences for myself. But I think totally living in a very small town with a more sheltered upbringing does change, kind of how you're raised as a child and how it changes you as an adult too. You're forced to learn these things on your own.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say, I do think that is one thing that we can kind of say, like, look, a lot of people don't have a lot of control over how they were brought up and who was bringing them up and the things that they were told and all of that kind of stuff. So it is kind of things that it's a lot of like biases and stuff that you have to unlearn.
Yeah.
I think for me, like if I'm being honest, it feels kind of misplaced that somebody would have gay people in their family, but they're not automatically seen like an ally.
I am an ally, to be honest with you. It's just really, unfortunately, the conversation, I guess, it wasn't something I was totally prepared to have or be aired to the world. And they give you a list of subjects to talk about. And so it kind of was like, we're just skimming through of hundreds and hundreds of questions trying to get to know each other.
Right.
This one question was like so focused on by Netflix and by the media. And I'm happy to be here. Of course, that's why I'm here. I'm happy to unpack any of this with you and anyone else willing to listen.
Of course, and yeah, I totally like appreciate you being here and having these conversations because I know that they're not always like the most straightforward or like necessarily like the funniest, but we are going to get on to more fun stuff in a
Yeah,
moment.
no, of course. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit more about it too. Um,
I think so. Just going back to you know the conversations that you had with the friends, family around you afterwards. Was there anything where they were like? Because it seemed when Nick posted his video to Instagram, it was kind of a bit like he was admitting it. Like, look, I had these like dated, more traditional views, but like I'm having to sort of unlearn that. Um, I just kind of wonder like how they would feel if you had chosen somebody that was like that.
yeah,
I just think whether he was
that's a
going.
tougher question too. I think, for Nick, I think that was a very like, it's to be honest with you, it's very scary to have people in my comment section like, go kill yourself. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna come find you. And that's almost, I think for Nick, that was like his defense mechanism was to send out this apology to just subside and kind of quiet anyone who is feeling negative towards him. Or for me, I'm very open, very much more willing to have those in person conversations, especially with people in my life. I'm not going to let some stranger on the internet come into my comment section and make me, scared or by them being mean to me. So for me, like I said, great family and friends, having those conversations with them, even clients, people who are really close to me, they're still kind, they're supportive. And I actually ended up reaching out to them. I said, hey, I know that some of these comments that came out during my conversation with Nick during Love is Blind could be felt to be offensive or could really have hurt your feelings. And I want to personally apologize to you because that would never be my intention. You are my friend, you are my family, I love you, and I am an ally to the LGBTQ community, and I would love to be here and support you no matter what I can do and use my platform to continue supporting that.
Yeah, and I think, and I appreciate you obviously like reaching out to those people to apologize. I think that's going to mean a lot to them, especially when you do it personally. And I think I would say that was the one thing that a lot of people felt was missing from Nick's video was that there was it. He said that he took accountability, but there wasn't really sort of any kind of apology for the damage that that could do.
Of course. And I would never want one comment to be made to really truly like hurt someone's feelings or, make them question if I'm truly their friend or part of their family or what I'm thinking, when I'm not in front of them.
Mm, pardon me. Um, and I have to ask, obviously, how do you feel about the speculation online that Nick is potentially himself in the closet?
I think that's so unfair. That's so unfair for people to be commenting on his sexuality too, because they don't know him, they don't know anything about him, and whether it's his mannerisms or sometimes the way his comments, like everyone really is after him for being a size queen. I was like, okay, it was a joke. We're in front of cameras. It kind of is just we're being dorks. Like to be honest with you, I'm quirky and weird and sometimes just stuff comes out and Nick is kind of the same way and I think that's unfair of them to go after him for one comment in the pods and then one comment in his garage. So it's I don't I if he I just don't think that it's fair for them to be judging his sexuality online at all. If he has something he wants to share, he could share it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the gay community felt the same way when he spoke on us. So I
Yeah.
don't, I do think it's a little bit fair game at that point. But
I agree, but I know.
did you do you think there's any truth to the speculation?
For me, knowing Nick personally, no, I
No.
don't. I think he's just very metro. He is very clean. He is very organized. He's, raised by his mother, who's also a hairdresser. And I think, you spend a lot of time with your mom. You definitely end up picking up some of those traits. And like I said, being a hairdresser, we have our own quirks and personality differences, and we make comments and we have fun. We're around a lot of different people all day. Where chameleons tend to kind of like mold into that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't be a hairdresser and not be around gay people, can
No,
you?
exactly.
Did you what did you feel about the comments that his mother had made to him?
To be honest, I think she just was a cute Midwest mom, kind of making hairdresser jokes to Nick, and I think he just didn't know how to respond. I think this is, maybe a question for Nick too. It's again not really fair for me to speculate on him either. So
I just feel like the mum obviously had her own speculations, and we're saying like it's not fair for like people to watch the show and speculate. I mean, but his own mother even thought that. So that's, I think, what a lot of people are picking up on, along with, obviously, as you said, the size queen comment, which it just feels niche for heterosexual men in the mountains of Denver.
yeah, like I said, I think he's organized, he's clean. Everybody's giving him a hard time. I have a lot of Metro friends too. They're also straight hairdressers that people will speculate for them that they're gay too, and they're straighter than anybody else I know. So they get more girls than anybody else. So.
I would say like towards the end of the season, you were like quite emotional. Obviously, like correct me if I say anything wrong, but it felt like you were quite adamant that Nick didn't feel as passionately about the relationship as you did. What was the reasoning for that? Because as the audience members, like it just feels like we're missing something.
Yeah, you guys were actually. So the crazy part is Nick and I didn't break up. They show us breaking up on camera. We ended up dating for another month afterwards. So they drug out our breakup for an entire day. I was so tired. I admitted in the beginning to being like a little hungover. And so I was like, oh my God, just get me out of here. And we went and had brunch and we talked about it. And he was like, I still really love you. I still want to be with you. I just need to get away from the cameras and I can't be here anymore. And so I was like, okay, and in my head, I was like, well, why don't we just try to get through the experience? Let's figure it out. Let's see where this leads us, and if anything, if we just simply don't get married, maybe we look back, in our relationship in a year or 2 years and, this was a great experience for us. We, went to an altar and said no. Then now did we spend another year or two and get to know each other a little more and say yes? In the end, ultimately, we broke up. We're not compatible. He lives in the mountains. I live in Denver. There's so many other factors besides that. He just was, he was very anxious, very nervous. And obviously, I'm very empathetic to that. And so it was stressful for me to watch someone who I was like in love with, engaged to be so stressed out and so upset. And I just totally mirrored that effect and crashed out. So... yeah.
But was there anything going on like between you guys that led you to think, oh, I'm more invested than he is?
So ultimately, I was going through a really big salon renovation during the show. I really never should have left. I should have continued to like stay home and work. But I was really stressed. I was stressed myself. And so we would film. I'd get up at 6 a.m., drive from Denver to my salon in Parker, which is not close. And then I would work until like 2, drive back to Denver. And then I was exhausted from not sleeping. I would be up and then we would start filming at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and film till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would do it all again the next day. And so I'm like running myself ragged. And Nick he has totally set up this life for himself where he gets to, work kind of remotely or part-time. And so I think I was feeling, I'm working my ass off. I'm running into the ground trying to make this work. And you're just sitting at home. And then when I get home, you're telling me that you're stressed, that you don't want to be here anymore. And that's not my version of love. So in my head, I would have liked for him to maybe be helping me a little more. Maybe there is a clip where it shows him at the salon trying to like glue the crown molding to the ceiling, which doesn't work, by the way. You have to nail it. So, but.
I mean, I'm not really sure that answered the question, but
okay, ask me again.
I just want to know: were you guys intimate throughout filming, or did you were you intimate at the start and then you stopped?
Yes. No, we were intimate like through the entire way. It was great. We had so much fun. I think in Mexico, it was like day 2. And of course, we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. We have this emotional connection. Now we have an amazing physical connection. And we would come home during filming, and we're sleeping in the same bed, we're like snuggled up, we're waking up in the morning discussing what filming is going to be happening, what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day, like what we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives. It actually was super romantic and great till it wasn't. So
What I feel like the reunion was quite edited down because I don't feel like we saw a lot of you.
yeah,
Was
no.
was there anything like that we missed?
To be honest, no. They really focused a lot on Kate for some reason. So,
Hmm.
really a lot of the comments I had to make, I don't have any animosity towards Nick, and I think that's what the reunion was looking for, was, somebody to bring a little animosity and start some fights. And they got it with Kate for sure. So,
So obviously, oh, okay, let me touch on Kate first and then I'll come back to what I was
sure.
going to say. But I think what Kate was trying to articulate was that the essence of how Nick comes across can be likened to somebody that's had media training because he says the right things all the time, seemingly like I'm held accountable. It reads like a textbook almost.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he definitely does on camera. I will say that. I think spending a lot of time with him off camera, he is very genuine. He's very, very nice, very kind, very sweet.
But you would say he was like a little bit more prepared when the cameras were there,
Yeah, I
or?
would say in front of a camera, he's just he's prepared. He chooses his words very carefully. I think I was nervous, to come off badly.
Mm. And I'm trying to remember what I was going to ask you before I got distracted by the cake thing. Oh, you said that you guys dated after the show
Mhm.
for, how you said it was like a month, right?
Yeah.
What was the reason that you broke up ultimately after that month?
Ultimately, we just had different expectations. He lives about an hour and a half away from me, and I'm in Denver. And so I drove up, it was like Easter, for example, and made lunch, made dinner, stayed up there for a night or two, spent great time with him. And then the next weekend, I expected him to come down and stay with me for a weekend. And he's like, "Hey, I'm not able to. Let's reconvene next week." And it just kind of, I felt like I was giving a lot more in the situation than he was, and
Yeah, he does seem like more of a receiver.
yeah. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think you've cleared up a lot of the LGBT stuff, or I mean, at least you've given your side of it. I mean, people make up their own minds, as you know. Um, One thing I did want to ask you, just because I like to ask questions that people are asking, but then
Yeah.
interviewers maybe don't necessarily want to ask. Um, People were curious about your eyes at the reunion. They're like, has she been drinking? Is she drunk already? As well as like throughout the
Yeah.
show. So
Oh
I
my
just,
God. Okay. So, like, I have really light eyes, and yeah, I probably should have had less eyelash extensions on, but we're in full glam, full makeup all day, every day, and I'm sensitive. I'm just super sensitive to it. At the reunion, I actually was really, really sick. Had a horrible, horrible, horrible cold. And then you can tell we're sitting outside. So I
yeah,
was just
that looked
like,
ratchet. I was like,
yeah.
why is there
Oh my God. Like,
wind?
us trying to walk down the stairs, I was like, okay, this is great.
And
So
also,
Jeff, yeah.
I was going to say, and no disrespect, but the watch party also looked kind of. I was like, you guys are in a football stadium or
Yeah.
something? Like, was it a fan
Yeah.
event?
Honestly, I had no idea what to expect there. There was like bean bags in the football stadium. I was like, okay, got it.
So I didn't think that. I mean, just to clarify, I didn't actually think, oh, she's drunk at the reunion. I didn't get that vibe. Obviously, when you and Nick are arguing, it did seem like you were under the influence then.
Totally. Well, yeah, and it's the
Do they
one where we're
provide
at
it,
the
or do
reunion.
they provide alcohol after you've left the
Yeah,
pods?
yeah.
After the pods?
After
Ah.
parks. Yeah. And we were the one specifically, we had been at the rodeo like with all the other couples. And that's, you literally are watching all of us just take shots, and we're drinking and we're line dancing. This is literally our Uber home after that. I was under the impression we were done filming. So I like had DoorDash Taco Bell. I was ready to go put my pajamas on. And producers are like, by the way, we're gonna film for a little bit. Mind you, at this point, it's almost midnight. It's so late. I'm so exhausted. And we had been drinking. So it's like, okay, do we just keep doing it? And it's what happens is, so we would be filming like this, and the producers are off camera, like right here, and they would ask you. You can tell, yes, you can tell I'm like tipsy, coming down from being drunk, coming down from taking shots, but also so exhausted because I'm just like, like on the counter, like my eyes, like twitching. I'm ready to go to bed. They're asking, Annie, can you say that again? Can you reiterate what you mean by that? Oh, we didn't really like how you kissed Nick in that scene. Can you go ahead and do that again? Can you reiterate what you said again? So when I look like I'm repeating myself, I am totally repeating myself over and over because in my head it was a different take. Unfortunately, it's just one long strand of me saying, I love you, but you love me. I love more than you. I love you more than you love me, and I love you. And they're like, how many different ways can I say it?
Yeah, that's very interesting that you said that, because then it's like, okay, they obviously, if they were asking you that they like, oh, we didn't like how you did that, could you reiterate? Then they would have footage.
Exactly. And it's like I said, or it was, oh, this was in the background with the label showing. Can you do this again? So in my head, I felt a little misled to continue doing the same thing over and over again.
And did they, when you were like getting a lot of backlash online and stuff like that, were Netflix in contact with you, or like maybe not Netflix, but like Kinetic, or no?
No, I mean, we have like a PR team that we can reach out to, but I reached out, was like, hey, this is really upsetting. What can I do? How can I address this? What should I do? And they're like, yeah, we'll let you know. We'll let you know at the reunion. They're like, hey, what questions would you like to be addressed at the reunion? I actually did mention that I would like to talk about the LGBTQ comments at the reunion, and it was completely like not addressed, completely brushed over. So they definitely will choose what they would like to show.
Sure. People in the comments want me to ask you about the DUI allegations.
Yeah, totally. So Netflix does, like I said, they do the background check. I was very honest. I was very transparent about it. It was almost 5 years ago on New Year's Eve. I was out to lunch with a girlfriend. It'll show it's 7:30 p.m. Not even late. We had gone to lunch, and we were actually gonna grab something to eat and go home. So there was no accident. They just said that we like turned quickly from the stoplight. So not really sure, whatever that means. Totally. So I got a DUI on New Year's Eve, had to go there's a lot of requirements, especially in Colorado. They're very strict about it. You are required to do like over a year of therapy. You're on probation, and you have to have a breathalyzer in your car for 2 years. And I did it all, went through it all. It wasn't something I ever would intentionally go out and be like, I'm going to drink and drive tonight. It was just, we were on our way home. It was early. It's something I should never have done, but we'll completely take accountability for.
Of course. And I mean, I think that's really all you can do in the situation,
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to your ex just briefly, because I missed this. What was the stuff that he had been saying? Because
he's the one who actually put out the DUI.
It was him that leaked. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He also tried to, when we were dating, when we were together, he moved in with me to my apartment, and he is a master manipulator. Like he's done this before. It's what he does. I was paying the rent, and he would pay for my car, or he would pay for groceries. He would fill my car with gas, whatever. And I caught him cheating on me, and I asked him to move out. In Colorado, you don't have to move out from anywhere if you've lived there for more than 30 days and received a piece of mail. So that made him a squatter. So even though I had asked him to move out, he said he did not have to. And in the end, my cell phone, this was his big thing. My cell phone, we were starting to combine bills. We were together for almost a year. This is really what you do in a relationship. You grow together, you combine financials, you combine all these things. My cell phone was on his cell phone plan, and he had been paying for it. At least that was what I was under the impression of. My salon, my business is all connected to my cell phone number. And so I wanted to maintain the same phone number. So I went and I took it off of his cell phone plan, because he wouldn't give it to me. He wouldn't respond to me. He said, no, you need to come home and talk in person. And I felt I was being emotionally abused. And I was afraid to be physically abused. To be totally honest with you, I was getting horrible, like, anxiety from him. And I was like, I'm not coming back. I'm leaving you. I will not. I would lose everything than ever be with you. So I go to the cell phone store. I'm like, hey, take my cell phone off. I convinced them to go ahead and like put it on a new cell phone plan, which they're not supposed to do. And they send like the notifications to the cell phone. Hey, thank you for changing your plan. And they sent it to him. Well, he called the police. Where I live, where my salon's at, it's still not a big town, like south of Denver. So the same officer who gave me my DUI is the same officer that received the phone call from my boyfriend of him claiming that I was a terrible person and was causing his business harm and being very malicious by removing my cell phone number. He lied about everything. But
That's so crazy. You can't call the police because somebody's a bad person.
So get this. So they wrote it as a cybercrime because I logged in, whatever. They took his phone number off. And because he was my boyfriend, because this cybercrime, even though I hadn't seen him for days, it's considered domestic violence. So that's where all the other issues come in.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. And so then has he been like spreading online that you have been like.
Actually, yeah, the story's so much longer. Long story short, though, I was able to get a restraining order on him for the last few years. In Colorado, it's really hard to get permanent restraining order. So his restraining order was up about a year and a half ago. And so he's able to post about me. It's not illegal. He can't, like, I still don't talk to him. He's blocked on everything. Actually, didn't see any of the social media posts because he is blocked. I had people sending them to me and I was like, oh, okay. So.
Wow. And did they, like, the casting knew all of this?
They did.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I told them everything before. Yeah.
But I guess, this is a lot of this sounds like information that you like volunteered to them. Whereas, say, for example, if we talk about, we don't have to be specific about somebody on the show, like Mike, for example, but would it not be kind of easy for those people to conceal certain things if they wanted to?
I have no idea. So I assumed mine was sealed. And so when they actually pulled my background check, so it turns out if you're not convicted of something, even if you were charged with it, it will still show up. And so I would say for anyone who ever is getting a background check run, even if you didn't do something, it'll still come up if you were ever charged.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. But, if there was some sort of like a scam thing going on, but it wasn't reported, then that's not something that they would be able to check, right?
It's so hard. I can't speak to that exactly. I mean, we could totally look it up, I'm sure. I mean, why wouldn't you be able to look that up on someone's background check? A scam, though, if you're talking about Mike specifically, like, if someone isn't rendering services or it's, like I said, I don't know all the details on that. That's not going to come up on like a background check.
Sure.
So I myself had previous employees come up and say that I didn't pay them because they saw me come up on the show. They're like, oh, she didn't pay me. And I did. And they're like, oh, I don't have access to my W-2. I'm like, actually, you do. Here's your email. And they just, oh, I forgot I signed up for that.
Right.
Like I said, people are all looking for their 2 seconds.
And I feel like on the show, like sometimes there's, everyone's all cool with each other, especially on like the female side. Like Love is Blind UK, they all seem like best friends. This one, it seemed like there was kind of a clear divide. What side are you on?
What do you mean? Like, which side? A clear divide between who?
So who are your closest female friends from the show?
Madison and I are really great friends. She actually lives really close to me. We spend a ton of time together. We travel a lot. Casey's great. We get along great. I think we're both hairdressers, so it makes it easy. KB, unfortunately, she moved away right after, so it's hard to, maintain a friendship with someone who's not here all the time. Megan, as we know, kind of went into hiding. She was pregnant and didn't want anybody to know. And like I did think that was kind of weird. It was like, well, where's Meg? But it's like maybe she's doing her own thing.
Yeah. Were you like?
And then Allie, like, I would never say we were super close before, but she's a great girl. She's sweet. Got to sit next to each other on the couch and be like, oh no,
Right, yeah. I guess it was more like the Madison and Casey was sort of, I was trying to gauge like what side of that you were on, but obviously Madison's a very close friend of yours.
Yeah, of course.
So I understand where you're at.
Yeah.
What do you have coming up? Like if Netflix asked you to go on Perfect Match, would you do it?
So actually I declined Perfect Match. I have a boyfriend. He's great. We've been together for a year. Um, and they didn't ask me about that on the reunion either, which is disappointing.
That
So
was
it was
actually going to be
great.
my next question.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
His mom introduced us. I think she saw all my like traumatized dating and was like, "Here, you should date my son," which is great. She's one of my clients, longtime friends, does airbrush tanning for me at our salon, and he actually had moved right after he graduated high school, so I had never met him, but I'm very close with her, and I think she kind of saw we were both finally ready for a relationship, and she's like, "Here you go." So it's nice because we all get along. Our families get along great. He's amazing. He's been super supportive. He's watched the show actually multiple times. I was like, "Okay, babe, you probably don't need to watch it again." Like, so
And so was it season 4 of Perfect Match that they had asked you to go on, the next one?
mhm.
Okay. Interesting. Do you know anyone else who's on that?
No, I know a lot of people who declined.
Right, tell us who's on it.
I know. I was like, won't ruin that one. I know people who declined. I know people who weren't chosen, and it'll be interesting to see who ends up on there.
Could you tell us like one of the other person who declined?
No.
What? I mean, you've been a relatively open book up until this point.
I know, but I'm sure you could guess. So,
Was it from your season? You can just say
of
yes or
course,
no. Okay, interesting. Okay, so other people from your season have also declined. Okay, men or women?
both.
Okay, you don't have to tell me any more than that. I just wanted to get as close to the answer as possible. And then when I interview the other people, how do you feel about Anton?
I actually really like Anton. We kind of were joking at our watch party. It was like, well, if everybody thinks that we're alcoholics, I guess we should stick together. So,
Go get some shots, I guess.
yeah, exactly. No, he's actually really great too. He's had a girlfriend for the last year too, so we kind of bond on that also, having
Oh
to
yeah, I
really,
saw that. It was her birthday like yesterday or something, right?
yeah, yeah. I think it was their 1 year anniversary.
Oh,
So I know we're all in the same something.
yeah. Potato, tomato. Who cares? No, love Anton. Anton was supposed to come and do the live with me on like Tuesday, and he ghosted.
Anton.
Mm, mm. So I'm now officially Team Ali.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
that's
I've,
too funny.
I've converted.
That's so funny. I'm surprised he ghosted. He's pretty follow through guy.
Yeah,
So
I thought he seemed like kind of like that, and I thought, you know what, he's probably just on a bender.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
well, listen, Annie, thank you so much for dropping into the chat today. I do appreciate you coming to talk and again, I know you've spoken about this stuff before. I really appreciate you letting me talk to you about it from my point of view. Um, and yeah, thank you for coming on.
of course, you're a gem. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. This is fun.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good day at work.
You too, honey. Bye.
Bye.